Welcome to this, our pre-emancipation edition of the Government News Brief for this Friday, July 29, 2016. In the news, Carica's 34th meeting concluded today with a commitment to further strengthen public service administration in the Caribbean, intensive public awareness campaign on trafficking in persons begin, and heightened emphasis placed on development of small businesses in Guyana. Stay tuned as we bring you the details of these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. I am Azim Khan. Here now are the details. The Caribbean Center for Development Administration Carica 34th meeting, which was held in Georgetown, saw a recommitment towards improving the public sectors across the Caribbean region. Glendon Greenwich reports.
At the conclusion today of the 34th meeting of the Caribbean Center for Development Administration CARICAD, which Guyana hosted at the Pegasus, CARICAD's outgoing chairman, Dr. Peter Allen of Belize, explains CARICAD's role in this transition period.
For us, we want to stress the importance of human resources as one of the most fundamental resources that's available to any country. Of course, it's a great pleasure for us to visit Guyana with its wealth of natural resources, but to complement those natural resources, it's the human resource that takes that to create the opportunities for economic development.
The meeting saw the reaffirmation of CARICAD's role to work with member states in the areas of policy development, the operationalizing of ICT, along with the reliance on technology to deliver e-governance solutions for the work of the public sector.
Within Guyana, as within all of our countries, perhaps the most effective body of human resources is our public offices within our public administration. That is the area that CARICAD would like to touch to become the catalyst to help all of our nations mobilize our public offices to bring increased efficiency and effectiveness to our national development strategy.
Guyana's e-governance program, which is being rolled out, will be the region's first program poised towards transforming the public sector. Reginald Brotherson, Permanent Secretary, Department of Public Service, explains how Guyana can benefit.
You see, first of all, I was extremely happy Guyana to be hosting this 34th board meeting after a hiatus of about 3 years to bring all of our Caribbean brothers and sisters together. I think it's a wonderful achievement. The fact is that Guyana is in a position to borrow from the experiences of other countries. As a matter of fact, the President has accepted the Commission of Inquiry report into the operation of the public service. And we are in the process of studying those recommendations. For Guyana part, we are launching our e-government network and so on. We can borrow, we can really strengthen our operations in that aspect. And we have been leading in the forefront in CARICAD where that is concerned.
CARICAD is a regional intergovernmental organization which was established by CARICOM. It specializes in transforming and modernizing the public sector to promote, strengthen, and upgrade the material and the system capabilities of public sector entities within CARICOM member states. With this news brief, Glendon Greenwich.
Emancipation Day on August 1, 1838 was an important day because it brought a formal end to perhaps the most abominable institution in the history of humanity. It is now in excess of 180 years since emancipation was declared for enslaved Africans around the British West Indies. On Monday, August 1, Guyanese will participate in several activities to mark this important achievement of a people. Today, we share the thoughts of Guyanese at the University of Guyana on emancipation and thereafter.
Like many, Dorsey, a student of the University of Guyana, asks the question, are people of African descent really emancipated?
We're celebrating emancipation. We're dressed in our beautiful emancipation wear, cultural wear, and so on. But I want to ask the question, are we truly emancipated? Because, we see our women, they're walking around with long European hairs, and they're not proud of what they actually look like.
Brian Coppins, on the other hand, sees the achievements since the Declaration of Emancipation differently.
As a descendant of enslaved Africans, I'm persuaded that we've come a far way, looking at how Africans both of Guyanese origin and around the world have progressed. But however, for some reason we seem still a bit challenged. And I think a lot of that has to do with our attitude to each other.
Dr. Emmanuel Cummins, Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, says the time has come for the issue of lands for Guyanese of African ancestry to be discussed in ways similar to that of Amerindians.
And a lot of things in Guyana were built by slaves. The canals were dug by slaves. The original infrastructure in this country were built by slaves. So slaves have contributed significantly to the development of this country.
Meanwhile, Dr. Nigel Grazandi, the University of Guyana's registrar, says that while the cultures of the enslaved Africans were suppressed by their oppressors, the time has come for Guyanese of African descent to demonstrate a new awakening from the miseducation of the enslavers.
The emancipation of the mind has allowed the black man and should allow the African to understand that that is far removed from reality. But we must demonstrate that we have the capacity, like other ethnic groups, to be emancipated economically, to be emancipated intellectually, to be emancipated in a manner that will bring perfect results and wonderful blessings to our children, our children's children.
Tamika Wilson, another University of Guyana student and a teacher, says Guyanese ought to be thankful for the sacrifices made by the enslaved Africans.
As Guyanese, we should really take the opportunity to thank our foreparents for all these struggles and all these sacrifice. Thank those thousands of Africans who are down deep in the Atlantic Oceans for the struggles and the sacrifice that they would have made for us. Happy Emancipation, Guyana.
While the debate is ongoing on the state of descendants of enslaved Africans in Guyana and other parts of the world, the observances will begin with the cultural and libation ceremonies across the country beginning July 31. Kidaki Amsterdam for Government News Brief.
The Ministry of Public Security has begun an intensive public awareness campaign on trafficking in persons as the government strives for international conformity and to rid Guyana of this scourge. Tiffany Rodius has the details.
Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan yesterday led a team from his ministry on an awareness walk around the border market area yesterday. The ministry's awareness efforts are to inform people about trafficking in persons with the aim of ridding this scourge from society and to help Guyana improve its listing on the U.S. State Department Trafficking in Persons annual report.
Only recently, in accordance with the State Department report, we managed to elevate ourselves to a Tier 2 list, which is a promotion from the previous listing that we had. But the State Department report also indicated that we still have lots of work to do, and we agree with that.
Minister Ramjatan and his team, while walking around border, distributed flyers and other information tokens on trafficking in persons. The minister says assistance from the public is important to curb trafficking in persons.
To let them understand that this administration will have no tolerance for human trafficking. And so we want to bring public awareness about this damning phenomena that we call trafficking in humans.
Ramjatan points out that government is aware of trafficking in persons in Guyana. However, the police have been successful in prosecuting offenders, but public assistance is important in the fight against this crime.
A lot of people in Guyana, they see the wrongdoing, but they don't want to talk about it. I feel with public awareness, we're going to get more information from citizens to bring this thing to a halt.
Ramjatan, who also heads the Trafficking in Persons Ministerial Task Force, says that the task force will be releasing a Trafficking in Persons action plan within the next month. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
Government is pushing the development of small businesses, and in keeping with this goal, its Small Business Bureau will oversee training for several of these entities in the 10 administrative regions. Details in this report.
Persons who have accessed small business loans or grants through the Small Business Bureau will benefit from training offered at private training institutions across the country. Officer in charge of Small Business Bureau, Gillian Edward Griffith, explains.
We would have started training some time ago, under the MSCD project. but it's kind of limited. We had 3 training institutions, and of course in terms of the wider mandate of the project, in terms of both technical and generic business management training programs, of course that limited us a bit. So now that we have 12 trainers, a wide cross-section, both technical and business management type training programs, that is the expectation that we can increase in terms of penetration for the regions, 10 regions.
The Micro Small Enterprise Development Program, which started in 2013, has trained over 1,000 young entrepreneur and small business owners. Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin notes the vulnerability of the micro small business enterprise.
I'd like to thank all the training partners for broadening the scope of what's available in terms of training for small businesses. As you know, small businesses are probably the most vulnerable sector of the entire business landscape.
Recently, the Small Business Bureau, through the Ministry of Business, signed a Memorandum of Understanding with 12 agencies in the 10 administrative regions, which will be receiving funding to facilitate these programs. For the Government News Brief, Seneca Thorne reporting.
In a matter of weeks, residents of Paramakatoy Region 8 will begin drying tomatoes from a green and sustainable village economy initiative. Find out how in this report.
Residents involved in the organic dried tomato project in Paramakatoy will soon be reaping their crop. These will be dried using a solar dryer. Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Lowe, explains.
With regards to the drying of the tomatoes, I would think within 2 weeks, I'm looking forward to within 2 weeks that the dryer will be set up there, so that the process of drying the tomatoes as soon as they're reaped and they're processed, properly, then the drying would start.
The project was introduced in keeping with government's thrust of empowering indigenous peoples with a view to them becoming economically independent.
The farmers are from the community. They're adults, they're families. They're using their family farms to plant. Now each family got 100 tomato seedlings each. Each family, I think, was 50 or 100 families. And now that's their little business there. They will come now and sell that and earn money.
The target market for the selling of the dried tomatoes is not the local one. Minister Lowe says that the European and North American markets are more profitable. The organically grown tomato project is receiving support from the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute, NARI, the Institute of Applied Science and Technology, IAST, and the Canadian High Commissioner to Guyana, Pierre Gerox. This project is expected to boost the region's green and sustainable village economy initiative. For the first time through the 2016 regional budget, Region 8 was allocated some $33.4 million for its agricultural program. Paul McAdam, Government News Brief.
As we celebrate another Emancipation anniversary, let us as a nation redouble our efforts to wipe away the blood and tears of slavery and make emancipation a reality of freedom, equality, and justice for the sons and daughters of the enslaved and for all Guyanese regardless of race, ethnicity, and culture. Happy Emancipation Day to all Guyanese from all of us here at the Government Information Agency. Do join us on Tuesday, August 2, 2016, when Gina brings you another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching and be safe.